It all started with my late nights at the office. I was an executive assistant at a major marketing firm, working directly under our powerful and intimidating director, Mr. Donovan. He was the kind of man who could command an entire room with just one look. People either respected him or feared him. At first, our relationship was strictly professional. I admired his sharp intellect and unwavering control. But then, something shifted. One evening, after most employees had left, I stayed behind to finish up a presentation. Mr. Donovan was still in his office, wrapping up a meeting with Richard, our deputy manager. I didn't think much of it until I passed by his office door and heard his voice calling me in. "Jessica, can I have a moment?" His voice was firm yet inviting. For reasons I couldn't explain, my heart raced. Richard gave me a knowing glance before exiting, leaving me alone with Mr. Donovan. "You work too hard," he said, leaning back in his chair. His eyes scanned me, making my breath hitch. "I appreciate the dedication." I swallowed hard. "Just doing my job." His gaze lingered a little too long, and in that moment, the tension in the room became palpable. It was an unspoken agreement, a silent understanding. Over the following days, these moments became more frequent. Lingering glances, coincidental meetings at the coffee machine, the brief touch of his hand on my shoulder when giving instructions. Each time, my pulse quickened. One night, while I was working late, he walked in and placed a cup of coffee on my desk. "I thought you could use this," he said, looking directly into my eyes. As I reached for the cup, our fingers brushed. A small, seemingly insignificant moment, but it sent a spark through me. That night, as I stared at my computer screen, I realized my thoughts were elsewhere. The first time it happened, I told myself it was a mistake. It was after yet another late-night meeting. I had brought him coffee, and he asked me to stay for a few minutes. For the first time, we really talked. He confided in me about his failing marriage, the loneliness that success had brought him. And I listened. Because I had always seen him as untouchable, unreachable. But now, he was opening up to me. Then, in the silence between words, he leaned in. And I didn't pull away. At first, it was fleeting. But then came the secret meetings, the late-night texts that blurred professional boundaries. It was a dangerous game, and the thrill of secrecy made it impossible to stop. The moment everything came crashing down, we were in his office again. The door was closed, and we were caught up in the gravity of each other's presence. The world outside had disappeared. But then, the door swung open. Richard stood there, his eyes filled with shock and triumph. "So it's true," he said, his voice low and ominous. Mr. Donovan quickly stepped back, but it was too late. The look on Richard's face told me everything. He had been waiting for this moment. The next day, a chilling atmosphere filled the office. Richard didn't call us in. Instead, he went directly to Mr. Donovan's wife. Mr. Donovan's wife found out everything. Not from office gossip or speculation, but from undeniable proof. Screenshots of our messages, security camera footage. Richard had planned it all, watching us and waiting for the right moment. He was forced to resign. As for me, I was given two choices: leave quietly or be publicly shamed. I left. But the damage was already done. My career was ruined, my reputation stained. And Mr. Donovan, he faded into the shadows, his once powerful image reduced to a whisper of scandal. Looking back now, I wonder, was it worth it? The passion, the thrill, the intoxicating allure of the forbidden, was it worth losing everything? Some mistakes don't just leave regrets. They become unforgettable.